Module 2. Building Resilience. In the previous module, we talked about coping with uncertainties. Building resilience is the next level of coping with uncertainties. Building resilience can help you cope with stress, overcome adversity, and enjoy the better days to come. The main way to look at resilience is as the capacity for people who have faced challenges to bounce back and to cope with life much more effectively.
Activity. Now take a moment and think of someone. This could be a friend, a family member, a teacher, a mentor, or a community member. What challenge have they gone through and how have they managed to deal with that challenge? Write your responses in your notebook.
The example you have just written is one of the so many challenges people overcome every single day. In the world today, we are experiencing dramatic changes to how we conduct our daily lives, economic uncertainty, political and social turmoil, as well as an array of natural disasters. Then there are personal traumas that people must also deal with, such as the loss of a loved one, declining health, unemployment for young people who have completed their studies, violent crimes, and even tragic accidents. For many of us, this is a time of unprecedented struggle and suffering. You may even feel that your life is totally out of control and you are powerless to affect whatever may happen next.
While there is no way to avoid sorrow, adversity, or distress in life, there are ways to help smooth the rough waters and regain a sense of control. Resilience is the ability to cope with the loss, change, and trauma that are inevitable parts of life even before these extraordinary times. Building resilience can help you better adapt to life-changing events, cope with turbulent times, and bounce back from hardship and tragedy.
Do you know the role of resilience in times of crisis? Why do some people seem to be better able to cope with these troubling times than others? Well, let me share with you a few reflections. While everyone's situation is different, it is true that people with resilience tend to have a higher tolerance for the emotional distress generated by hard times. The more resilient you are, the better you are able to tolerate the feelings of stress, anxiety, and sadness that accompany trauma and adversity, and find a way to rebound from setbacks. We all go through bad times. We all experience disappointment, loss, and change, and we feel sad, anxious, and stressed at various times in our lives. But building resilience can help you to maintain a positive outlook, face an uncertain future with less fear, and get through even the darkest days.
How do you build resilience? If you're more sensitive to emotional distress and finding it difficult to cope with hardships or challenges, it is important not to think of it as some kind of character flaw. Resilience isn't a mature quality and it isn't fixed. It's an ongoing process that requires effort to build and maintain over time. When it's difficult to imagine anything good coming out of traumatic experiences, building resilience can help you find some positives in the difficulties you have faced. Surviving hardships can teach you important things about yourself and the world around you, strengthening your resolve, deepen your empathy, and in time enable you to evolve and grow as a human being. Below are some tips for you to practice as you build your resilience.
Tip 1. Focus on things within your control. Make a list of all the things you can't control and give yourself permission to stop worrying about them. Instead, focus on the action that you can take. If a relative is facing a life-threatening illness, you may have to relinquish control to the medical experts, but you can still focus on providing your relative with as much emotional support as possible.
Tip 2. Accept change by looking to your past. Looking back at examples where you've coped with uncertainty and change before can help you accept your current situation. Perhaps you suffered a painful upbringing in the past and were eventually able to move on with your life. Or you failed an exam and repeated a class, but now here you are in Form 6. Examining your past successes can also help you see past the current crisis and derive some confidence that you shall be able to pull through again.
Tip 3. Reach out to others. Connecting with friends and family when you are going through tough times can help ease stress, boost your mood, and make sense of all the change and disruption. Instead of feeling you are facing your problems alone, you can draw strength and build resilience from having others to lean on. It is very important not to isolate yourself in tough times. You may be inclined to retreat into your shell when you are facing challenges in your life. You may fear being a burden to friends and loved ones, or feel too exhausted to reach out. But try to keep up with your social activities even when you don't feel like it. Good friends won't consider you a burden. You are more likely to feel flattered that you trust them enough to confide in them. Sometimes we have negative people around us. Some friends are good listeners, kind and empathetic. Others seem to only fuel negative emotions, leaving you feeling even more stressed, anxious, and panicky. To avoid anyone who marginalizes, who magnifies your problems, criticizes, or makes you feel judged.
Tip 4. Stay motivated. An important part of coping with adversity and making it through tough times is to foster qualities of persistence and endurance. Tough times don't last forever, but they, by their very nature, are rarely over quickly. As you plot a road through the darkness, you need to find ways to stay motivated and persevere. Deal with your problems one step at a time. If a problem is too big to deal with all at once, try breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps. If your problem seems to have no possible solution, you can still take action by drawing up a list. researching more about the subject, or seeking the advice of a trusted friend or loved one. Celebrate small wins. To stay motivated and positive as you navigate stormy waters in life, take a moment to savor your small successes. If you are looking for work, for example, getting an interview isn't as meaningful as landing a job, but it is a sign of progress, a step in the right direction. Noting these small wins can give you a welcome break from all the stress and negativity you're facing and encourage you to keep going. Try to maintain a helpful look. While it's difficult to stay positive and hopeful in the midst of a crisis, many of us tend to blow our problems out of proportion and make them seem even more negative than they really are. Try taking a step back and examining your situation as an outsider. Are there rays of hope that you can focus on? Instead of worrying about what you fear may happen, try visualizing what you'd like to happen instead.
Express gratitude. It may sound trite, but even when you experience terrible times, it's usually possible to find one thing you can be grateful about. For example, the love of a pet, a beautiful sunset, or a caring friend. Taking a moment to acknowledge your gratitude for such small things can provide respite from the stress and really boost your mood. Be kind to yourself. We're all going through a lot at the moment, and everyone adjusts to change and upheaval differently. Don't criticize your coping skills or beat yourself up for every mistake you make. Self-compassion is an important part of building resilience, so go easy on yourself. We will leave you with this question. What small steps do you think you can take toward becoming more resilient? See you next time.